everybody, how's it going? DiamondTrail Rancher back at you with another video. Today I want to talk about something very special to me. It's going to be rooting hormone. Okay, it's not a sponsored video. Nobody paid me to say this. This isn't some influencer ad where I'm going to tell you every product is amazing just because somebody sent me a free bottle. It's not the case. This wasn't free. I want to talk about a product that I personally have been using here on our Florida homestead, and honestly, I'm impressed with it. This right here is the Garden Safe Take Root Rooting Hormone Powder, and I figured instead of pretending to be some gardening scientist, I just give y'all the God's honest truth from a regular homesteader trying to grow food, propagate plants, save some money, and build up the property little by little in 2026, okay? Honestly, in today's economy, if there's a way to turn one tree into 10 trees for a few bucks, that matters. So today, we're going to tell you about it. We're going to look at these mulberry cuttings, these figs, etc., and talk about propagation, talk about why this stuff matters more now than ever. And I'm just going to tell you exactly what worked for me and what didn't, okay? So these right here are some of the mulberry cuttings. They were stripped completely down to the bare bones, okay? They looked like the tip here all the way down. This is the mulberry cuttings, showing you each one. So they came in slowly, all right? Actually, shoot, there's even brand new growth coming in on the top here. Let me see if I can show that. That is just too cool. That's a cutting. I mean, this is brand new. Look at that. That's insane. These are cuttings. You can see, good example of how this one actually, the whole thing looked like this, okay? It's completely dead as a doorknob. Cutting, okay? That's 3 for 3 in this pot. Show you another one. 3 for 3 in this pot, okay? Let me get to it. 3 for 3 in this pot. 3 for 3 in this pot. Okay, that's 9 out of 9 mulberries from cuttings. I can see how what I did. I took the leaves off. I took everything off, and you only want to leave like 2 leaves. This is all new growth, guys. I only left like 1 or 2 leaves on here. Kind of like what I did with the figs. This is because, see here, this is okay. This has only been in here for a couple days. This is what's going to happen. These bounce back, all right? Because see, here's the other figs. I'm going to explain what I'm doing here. This stuff is fantastic. I mean, it really is. It's beautiful, okay? Can mulberries and figs root without hormone? Absolutely they can. They really can. People have been propagating mulberries forever. But here's what I've noticed. The cuttings that we dipped here, like I just showed you here, man, and rooting hormone just seemed to wake up way faster. 9 for 9, guys. When I first started it, it was like 2 for 9. I was like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. I noticed though with this rooting hormone right here, Take Root, guys, it's not some miracle powder where every cutting suddenly becomes a tree overnight. It's not the reality, but it made everything wake up so much faster and push such fantastic growth. You're going to need your moisture. I come out here and water it, you know. You want to make sure you get some moisture in there. Your soil, you don't want to do straight compost. I have some leggy lettuce over here. That was a different for a different video. Showing you here though, you don't want to do straight compost. You want to make sure you also have sandy soil in there as well. We live in Florida, so we have some, you know, native sand. You still need decent soil though in general, and you need patience regardless. You need some shade protection. That's why I actually have it under these trees here. So Florida's funny. Some shade is still like practically full sun in the state of Florida. That just is. Anyway, this stuff right here, there's no mixing, there's no measuring. Boom, boom, boom. Set and forget. There's no complicated directions, folks. You literally just cut your branch. You lightly moisten the end, dip it in the powder, stick it in the soil. Okay, you saw the pots, and you can also have them go in the ground. Some direct sown elderberry as well. Okay, that's it. That's our kind of gardening. Let's be honest. Most homesteaders are busy, very, very, very busy. Okay, we're feeding ducks, we're feeding goats, we're watering gardens, we're fixing fences. You know, we're dealing with broken mowers. The list goes on, right? Trying to survive that inflation in 2026. Look at this beautiful elderberry. Isn't that awesome? Huge. I love how thick they're getting too. Most people don't want a chemistry experiment just to grow a fig tree. Okay, I'll show you the fig tree also that this stuff came off of. One thing most people talk about or aren't talking about, I think it's super duper underrated, is propagation in general. As far as a homestead skill, it's probably, in my opinion, one of the most valuable ones. Everybody talks about buying fruit trees and stuff, but what if you learn how to make fruit trees? Here's the fig. I actually pulled that other one there from the side and cut some cuttings off of this one. You can actually use, there's plenty of other areas here on this one that I could use as cuttings. This was a clearance tree that I brought back to life, and it's just amazing. It really is amazing at what it has become. You know, every fig tree becomes expansion, really. Every mature mulberry tree becomes potential food security, and that just changes absolutely everything. Every successful cutting becomes, you know, new shade, new fruit, livestock treats, privacy, future barter potential, backup plants. Guys, yeah, I'm sure you've seen the headlines. It's getting crazy out there. Redundancy matters. I talk about redundancy all the time on this channel. You guys probably know that. Redundant water systems, redundant animals, succession flocks, backup feed plans. Propagation is plant redundancy because storms happen. I'm going to show you guys the mulberries I pulled this stuff from. Okay. Cold snaps happen, drought happens. Guys, we're in a record drought. I just saw today on the news that it would take 2.5 feet of water over the next 3 months to make up for the drought that we are currently in right now. That's insane. They said we haven't had a drought like this since 2001. It's crazy. And if you know how to clone your best plants, you're ahead of the game. And honestly, I think more people are waking up in 2026. I really do. You can feel it. People are tired of depending on systems. They keep getting more expensive. Every time you go to the grocery store, what do you see? Prices going up, right? Folks, I took those cuttings off of these mulberries right here. Look at that. You can't even tell. They're just beautiful, fantastic. There's a million other cuttings I could come off of here. It's truly amazing. It really is. You know, garden supplies, cost is up. Feed, cost is up. Have you guys seen fertilizer? It's about to scream in price. Everything's just going up. I think people are starting to realize, you know, maybe growing some of your own food isn't crazy after all. Maybe learning some old school skills isn't weird anymore. Maybe knowing how to root a mulberry cutting is actually valuable. Well, you know, what I love about the mulberry specifically is they're one of the best homestead trees there is. You don't see them in the grocery stores typically because they don't transport well. They break easily. They're not pretty. You touch them when they're ripe and they just kind of like, you know, they get all over your hands. They get all over everything. Chickens love them. Ducks love them. Wildlife loves them. Pollinators, you name it. You can eat them. They provide shade. And once they're established, like these beautiful 3 mulberry, these are dwarf variety, by the way, ever-bearing mulberry that I have. Once they're established, they just explode with growth here in Florida. It's awesome, you know. The coolest thing ever. Real cuttings, real gardening in general, it's going to include its failures. Real homesteading includes its failures. Sometimes, you know, things are going to die. Plants are going to rot. Sometimes you overwater. Sometimes you underwater. That's part of it. Something consistently improves your odds. Guys, that's worth talking about. Like I said, those cuttings, I'm 9 for 9 now on new growth. Even if you only had one of them, right? That's a whole nother tree. You guys probably know about thinning out seedlings and things like that, right? Where you get, you know, you have kind of the same thing with the cuttings, but you're talking entire trees there, man, not just, you know, annuals or whatever. But the honest review for this rooting hormone, guys, it's cheap, easy to use, lasts forever, beginner friendly, seems to improve rooting success for me anyway. I think it would for anyone. Works absolutely fantastic for figs, mulberries, from my experience. It's not magic. It's not going to save unhealthy cuttings. Still need to be patient. And Florida heat can still kill your propagation overall attempts. I mean, I'd buy it again. I would wholeheartedly 110% buy it again. Absolutely, I would buy it again. And nobody paid me to say that. You know, I think there's something important to say about that. I think people are tired of fake reviews online. Everything is, oh, this is the best product out there, life-changing, you need this. And half the time the person reviewing it barely used it, or they didn't use it at all. I don't want this channel to become that. guys, if I review something here on DiamondTrail Ranch, it's because we actually used it, it helped, and I actually believed in it because y'all trust me with your time, and time matters. This is a big part of why we love homesteading. All right, it's not just survival. One of my favorite things is the preparedness aspect of it. So you're creation. God is good, man. Genesis. You take a tiny cutting, months later, becomes a tree. Love to tend that garden, right? The book of Genesis, man. It's rewarding, especially in a world that feels chaotic sometimes. There's something peaceful about growing life. You know, feeding the animals, watching things recover. All these bananas are bouncing back from the frost we had this year. It's just awesome. So build something slower and more meaningful. It's just amazing. So if anybody's new to propagation, here's what I would personally do. You would take a semi-hardwood cutting, healthy branch, not dead wood. You want to strip off the lower leaves, dip the end lightly into water, then dip it into the rooting hormone powder. Then you put it in moist soil. You don't soak it, just a little moisture, that's all. Mostly shade at that point. And then that's really it. The biggest mistake people here in Florida is cooking their cuttings in direct sunlight. Don't put them in direct sunlight. They're already stressed. Cuttings are already stressed as it is. They don't need to be baked alive. All right. So it's just the bigger picture with homesteading. You know, it adds up. Small skills add up. It's not about perfection. Resilience, little by little. Okay. That's what we're trying to build here. One skill at a time. Learning to propagate plants, learning to compost, learning animal care, learning gardening, learning preservation. I truly believe God gave us this earth to steward, to grow, to care for, to multiply. Some of the most peaceful moments in life happen outside. You know, when you walk your property and you hear your ducks in the background, which are the loudest animals on the property, you know, you watch that new growth. My favorite thing is watching the new growth. Man, even Arnold, our pig, he's growing every day. It reminds you there's, you know, still beauty in the world, even when the news feels like nonstop negativity and the war going on overseas and stuff. So my overall opinion on this rooting hormone is it's earned a place on our homestead shelf. Absolutely. For the price, the simplicity, and for the results we personally had, you know, with our cuttings and the figs, the mulberries, etc. Absolutely, I would buy it again. If you've used it before, let me know in the comments which kind has worked for you. What do you do instead of rooting hormone? What plants have you used with it, maybe? Whether you think it actually makes a difference. And if you're new here, this channel is all about real Florida homesteading. The good, the bad, and the chaos.